Super Coven here. So I'm going to put stuff on this channel that's more politically driven. And today, I'm going to talk about the death penalty. Capital punishment. And I'm going to talk about this because I read this news story in the local paper. I'm going to read it right now. Read some of it right now. Court upholds Kentucky lethal injection method. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court cleared the way for executions to resume, upholding Kentucky's method of lethal injection. In a 7-2 decision, the High Court ruled against the constitutional challenge made by two Kentucky death row inmates that argued that the state's procedures amounted to cruel and unusual punishment. Okay. I'm going to skip down here. Let's see. Okay, the attorneys for these two. Attorneys for Bays and Bowling argued that if the first drug in the three-drug cocktail were administered improperly, it would leave the inmates subjected to the pain of the following two drugs. Now, I'm not going to read the whole story. I will link it right over there in the sidebar. I will link to this story, and you can read it. Now, cruel and unusual punishment. Now, don't you think that getting on death row must mean you inflicted some kind of cruel and unusual punishment to someone else? So why should we care if you're suffering when you're dying? You were deemed guilty of what you did, and the state decided that capital punishment suited it. Now, personally, I think it was comedian Ron White said it best: if you kill someone, we will kill you back. I strongly agree with this statement, and here's why. If first off, I believe everyone that's convicted of murder, premeditated murder, should get the death penalty. I mean, why are we going to put violent, non-rehabilitatable criminals basically in a penthouse, a private cell, or even in a communal cell where they have their meals paid for them, they have a place to live, they're living on our tax dollars for the rest of their life? Now, granted, I can grasp the concept of, life in prison is an apt punishment sometimes, but I'm sorry. If you plan to kill someone and you kill them and you get convicted, you should be put to death. And I'm sorry, I'm tired of seeing inmates staying on death row for years and years and years and years. Why? That's just wasting our fucking money that we're spending on taxes. Put them in, cart them out, be done with it. And lethal injection is not a cruel and unusual punishment. Personally, if I had things my way, a bullet to the back of the head, or hanging, or the electric chair, I would still use these methods. I'm sorry. But don't you think if everyone that was a murderer would get put to death, do you not think that could positively impact the amount of violent crime in this country? I mean, that's like saying, okay, you want to kill somebody, but are you 100% sure that you're willing to give your own life up to kill this one person? I mean, I'd surely think twice before killing someone. It makes me sick that we have capital punishment, but we are too afraid to use it. Yeah, I mean, you know what happened? I'm going to cite a case of that from in the Soviet Union. They captured a serial killer named Andrei Chikatilo. He killed about 50 small children, and he confessed. He was convicted, and he was sentenced to death. They led him from the courtroom, took him to an empty cell, and put a bullet in the back of his skull. If somebody confesses to killing a bunch of kids, why not? I'm sorry, there's no hope for these people. Speaking about the prison system, I'm getting way off topic here, but spend less money incarcerating non-violent, petty criminals, minor offenses. Spend less money putting them in prison. So much money is wasted, and so many people don't want to use the methods that we have for punishing our criminals. The prisons are filling up. They're running out of space because they're incarcerating nonviolent criminals, and they're keeping murderers and rapists and capital offenders on death row for so goddamn long before carrying out their sentence. For the love of Christ, put that shit on, as Ron White says, speed dial. Put it on speed dial. Our justice system is fucked. Just think about all these families that are getting torn apart by violence and murder, and they don't see the iron hand of justice going down. They see a criminal being put up for free that they're going to pay for, instead of being properly punished for what they've done. I know it's very barbaric sounding. It's third world sounding, but in a society that's so focused on making people better and getting them more adjusted and sending them back out to be productive members of society, there's no hope for some of them. Quit being touchy-feely, never want to raise your hand at people who deserve it, and just go through with it. I support the death penalty 100%, and I don't care whether recipients of the death penalty go under cruel and unusual punishment to carry out their sentence. Because if they deserved a death penalty, they inflicted something cruel and unusual on their victims. That's about all I have to say on this subject. Wake the fuck up, America.
Dream with the feathers of angels.